the second book of Moses, called Exodus, chapter 21. Now these are the judgments which thou shalt set before them. If thou buy an Hebrew servant 6 years, he shall serve. In the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. If he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, or unto the door post, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. And if a man shall sell his daughter to be a maidservant, she shall not go out as the men servants do, if she please not her master, who hath betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed. To sell her unto a strange nation he shall have no power, seeing he hath dealt deceitfully with her. And if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. And if he do not do these things, these three, verse 11, and if he do not these three unto her, then he shall go out free without money. She shall go out free without money. He that smiteth a man so that he die shall be surely put to death. And if a man lie not in wait, but God deliver him into his hand, then I will appoint thee a place whither he shall flee. But if a man come presumptuously upon his neighbor to slay him with guile, thou shalt take him from mine altar, that he may die. And he that smiteth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. And if he that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death. And if men strive together, and one smite another with a stone or with his fist, and he die not, but keepeth his bed, if he rise again and walk abroad upon his staff, then shall he that smote him be quit, only he shall pay for the loss of his time, and shall cause him to be thoroughly healed. And if a man smite his servant or his maid with a rod, and he die under his hand, he shall be surely punished. Notwithstanding, if he continue a day or two, he shall not be punished, for he is his money. If men strive and hurt a woman with child, so that her fruit depart from her, and yet no mischief follow, he shall be surely punished according as the woman's husband will lay upon him, and he shall pay as the judges determine. And if any mischief follow, then thou shalt give life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, burning for burning, wound for wound, stripe for stripe. And if a man smite the eye of his servant or the eye of his maid, that it perish, he shall let him go free for his eye's sake. And if he smite out his manservant's tooth or his maidservant's tooth, he shall let him go free for his tooth's sake. If an ox gore a man or a woman, that they die, then the ox shall be surely stoned, and his flesh shall not be eaten, but the owner of the ox shall be quit. But if the ox were wont to push with his horn in time past, and it hath been testified to his owner, he hath not kept him in, but that he hath killed a man or woman, the ox shall be stoned, and his owner also shall be put to death. Whoa. If there be laid on him a sum of money, then he shall give for the ransom of his life whatsoever is laid upon him, whether he have gored a son or have gored a daughter. According to this judgment shall it be done unto him. If the ox shall push a manservant or a maidservant, he shall give unto their master 30 shekels of silver, or the ox shall be stoned, and the ox shall be stoned. And if a man shall open a pit, or if a man shall dig a pit and not cover it, and an ox or an ass fall therein, the owner of the pit shall make it good, and give money unto the owner of them, and the dead beast shall be his. And if one man's ox hurt another's, that he die, then they shall sell the live ox and divide the money of it, and the dead ox also they shall divide. Or if it be known that the ox hath used to push in time past and his owner hath not kept him in, he shall surely pay ox for ox, and the dead shall be his own. The second book of Moses, called Exodus, chapter 22. If a man shall steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. If a thief be found breaking up and be smitten that he die, there shall no blood be shed for him. If the sun be risen upon him, there shall be blood shed for him. For he should make full restitution. If he have nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. If the theft be certainly found in his hand alive, whether it be ox or ass or sheep, he shall restore double. If a man shall cause a field or a vineyard to be eaten, he shall put in his beast and shall feed in another man's field of the best of his own field and of the best of his own vineyard shall he make restitution. If fire break out and catch in thorns, so that the stacks of corn or the standing corn or the field be consumed therewith, he that kindled the fire surely make restitution. If a man shall deliver unto his neighbor money or stuff to keep, and it be stolen out of the man's house, if the thief be found, let him pay double. If the thief be not found, then the master of the house shall be brought unto the judges to see whether he have put his hand unto his neighbor's goods for all manner of trespass, whether it be for ox, for ass, for sheep, for raiment, or for any manner of lost thing, which another challengeth to be his. The cause of both parties shall come before the judge, and whom the judges shall condemn, he shall pay double unto his neighbor. If a man deliver unto his neighbor an ass or an ox or sheep or any beast to keep, and it die, or be hurt or driven away, no man seeing it, then shall an oath of the Lord be between them both, that he hath not put his hand unto his neighbor's goods. And the owner of it shall accept it thereof, and he shall not make it good. And if it be stolen from him, he shall make restitution unto the owner thereof. If it be torn into pieces, then let him bring it for witness, and he shall not make good that which was torn. And if a man borrow aught of his neighbor, and if it be hurt or die, the owner thereof being not with it, he shall surely make it good. But if the owner thereof be with it, he shall not make it good. If it be an hired thing, it came for his hire. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed, and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. And if her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Whosoever lieth with a beast shall surely be put to death. He that sacrificeth unto any god, save unto the Lord only, he shall utterly be destroyed. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger, nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Ye shall not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If thou afflict them in any wise, and they cry at all unto me, I will surely hear their cry, and my wrath shall wax hot, and I will kill you with the sword. And your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. If thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as an usurer, neither shalt thou lay upon him usury. If thou at all take thy neighbor's raiment to pledge, thou shalt deliver it unto him, but that the sun goeth down. For that is his covering only, it is his raiment for his skin, wherein shall he sleep? And it shall come to pass, when he crieth unto me, that I will hear, for I am gracious. Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of thy people. Thou shalt not delay to offer the first of thine ripe fruits, and of thy liquors, the firstborn of thy sons shalt thou give unto me. Likewise shalt thou do with thine oxen and with thy sheep. 7 days it shall be with his dam. On the 8th day thou shalt give it to me. And ye shall be holy men unto me. Neither shall ye eat any flesh that is torn of beasts in the field. Ye shall cast it to the dogs. The second book of Moses, called Exodus, chapter 23. Thou shalt not raise a false report. Put not thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in thy cause to decline after many to wrest judgment, neither shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause. If thou meet thine enemy's ox or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again. If thou see the ass of him that hateth thee lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help with him. Thou shalt not wrest the judgment of thy poor in his cause. Keep thee far from a false matter, and the innocent and righteous slay thou not, for I will not justify the wicked. And thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise, and perverteth the words of the righteous. Also thou shalt not oppress a stranger, for ye know the heart of a stranger, seeing that ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. In 6 years thou shalt sow thy land, and shalt gather in the fruits thereof. But the 7th year thou shalt let it rest and lie still, that the poor of thy people may eat, and what they leave the beasts of the field shall eat. In like manner thou shalt deal with thy vineyard and with thy olive yard. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest, that thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed. And all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. And make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I command thee, in the time appointed of the month Abib, for in it thou camest out of Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. In the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors which thou hast sown in the field, in the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in thy labors out of the field, 3 times in the year all thy males shall appear before the Lord God. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until the morning. The first of the fruits of thy land thou shalt bring unto the house of the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. Behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way, and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice, and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies, and an adversary unto thine adversaries. For mine angel shall go before thee, and bring thee in unto the Amorites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Canaanites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them, and quite break down their images. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, and shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. There shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in thy land. The number of thy days will I fulfill. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come. And I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. And I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivite, the Canaanite, and the Hittite from before thee. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land become desolate, and the beast of the field multiply against thee. By little and little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. And I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river, for I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee. The second book of Moses, called Exodus, chapter 24. And he said unto Moses, Come up unto the Lord, thou and Aaron and Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. And Moses alone shall come near the Lord, and they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments. And all the people answered with one voice and said, All the words which the Lord hath said will we do. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning, and builded an altar under the hill, and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in the basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read it, and read in the audience of the people. And they said, all that the Lord hath said will we do, and be obedient. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people, and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel. And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet as it were a paved work of a sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in his cleanness. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. Also they saw God, and did eat and drink. And the Lord said unto Moses, come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mount of God. And he said unto the elders, tarry ye here for us until we come again unto you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them. And Moses went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount. And the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And the 7th day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. And the sight of the glory of the Lord was like devouring fire on top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moses went into the midst of the cloud, and got him up into the mount. And Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. Okay, so that was the end of chapter 24. And there are so many beautiful things that you can see in that chapter. But I hope I can make it very quickly. Here I'm going to try to give a really fast rundown. Starting in chapter 21, which is what we started with. And this is how the beginning of the law, it is... The law is criticized by everyone, by both the church. I don't understand why they criticize it, and also by the world. They criticize this because, they talk about servants and maid servants and so forth. But you can see how beautifully the Lord wanted masters to treat their servants and their maid servants. So that's how it begins, and then it moves into how the judgment is to be done when it comes to dealings with money and possessions and things like that. We can take so many good lessons out of this, but as we read it and we interact with the world and the laws of this world, you can see that if we just abide and behave like the Bible is teaching us, we can pretty much navigate very comfortably through the laws of the world, which are typically not the laws of God anymore, even though they used to be, especially in America. And all of the laws, like we talked about previously, William Blackstone, he studied the law of Moses to come up with a system, judicial system in America. But because people hate the Lord and hate the word, people think to themselves, we know better how to govern ourselves. So we're saying the same thing that the nation of Israel said in times past. We want a king like unto the other nations. And the Lord, with Samuel, tells them that he was going to be their king, but they didn't want God to be their king. That's how our nation was set up, the United States. It was set up according to the laws that we're reading about now. But then eventually people said, no, we don't want the laws of God. We just want our own. And so it's just crazy that we have the same things happening today. So that it is what was covered in chapter 21. As we move into chapter 22, we are, even like the first verse, this behavior is so good, and the Lord's law even is so full of compassion. Look at what it says. If a man shall steal an ox or a sheep and kill it or sell it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox, or 4 sheep for a sheep. Okay? And if this is verse 3 toward the end, and if he have nothing, then shall he be sold for his theft. Verse 4, if the theft be certainly found in his hand alive, whether it be ox or ass or sheep, he shall restore double. So instead of sending him to prison and like a common criminal, look at the mercy of the law of God. It is much better than our American laws. American law system is so dumb today. It's so silly. Like, the crime does not match the punishment. Prove me wrong on that. Like, if somebody steals something, I saw a lady or something, there was a report, she stole something because, I don't know, I suppose because she was hungry. Sent her to prison for like 20 to 30 years. And she was black, of course. And then that is all the more ammunition for people to feel like the justice system is against the minorities. It is so. Why are you sending somebody for 30 to 40 years to prison because she stole a piece of bread to feed her children? It is so heartless. But the law of God, even though it is harsh, we don't earn salvation through the law, but these apply to us on earth. It is so merciful. It is so merciful. If you steal something, you'll restore it 5 times. But if you don't have anything to live on, then you'll restore it 2 times. It is so merciful, so beautiful. The law of God and his judgments are so beautiful. Verse 7, if a man shall deliver unto his neighbor money or stuff to keep, and it be stolen out of the man's house, if the thief be found, let him pay double. There it is again. So let's go down to verse 11. Then shall an oath of the Lord be between them both, and he hath not put his hand into his neighbor's goods, and the owner of it shall accept thereof, and he shall not make it good. So the judgments and precepts and statutes of God are so much better than our statutes and our legal things. We are unjust. We are in one thing that I hate all the time, and I see it on social media, and I despise it so much. When there's like a report, you go on YouTube and there's a report of some criminal committing a crime, and you can go and see in the comments, yeah, he needs to be punished and send him to prison, put him away, let him rot in jail. Americans are so disgusting when it comes to the legal system. So disgusting. I want to throw up. They feel so self-righteous, and they act like they've never done anything wrong. All of us are lawbreakers. And the Lord hath compassion on us. He had compassion on us. And as we read in the Bible, the Lord is so compassionate in his laws. When it says to pay double, back in this time, people had the ability to, like, if a woman stole a piece of bread to feed her children, and she's required, because she doesn't have anything, to pay double, you know what we were able to do back then? We were able to look at the woman and say, you know what? I forgive you. Here's more bread. You don't have to pay anything back. Because we had the ability in this legal system to have mercy on people. But now we don't have the ability to forgive people. The state takes over, and the state prosecutes people. And I can see how vicious American people are. Extremely vicious in their legal system. It's crazy. It's persecution of the ultimate order. It's crazy. And you know why? Because they took the Bible out of the legal system. Before, Bible was met with the law. In other words, you went to court, you would put your hand on the Bible, and then you would testify because of this verse right here, verse 11. Then shall an oath of the Lord be between them both. Because you cannot have a legal system when either party, the plaintiff or the defendant, do not fear the Lord. And then you have the legal system that does not fear the Lord. So you have now, what we have is a defendant, a plaintiff, and a legal system that do not fear the Lord more than the legal system. In other words, the fear of the Lord has to be the guidance, not the legal system. So to do righteously with the Lord in his eyes has to come first. And if it does not come first, we have no legal system. So does it come first in the legal system of America? No, it doesn't. So we do not have a legal system. That's why it's broken. Because no one, nor the judge, the attorneys, the cops. I see cops all the time because they have them online, and stuff, and on social media. And you see cops, they come, get out of their car, their powerful cars, and they go just for a speeding ticket. They talk to the person they have just pulled over, and they start talking in profanities. They do not fear the Lord. That is why we have such issues in America in our legal system, because our legal system is no longer based on the fear of the Lord as it was back when William Blackstone wrote his wonderful, famous books. So we are better off with God's law than man's law. Better off with God's law than man's law. Man's law is unjust. It is vicious. It is unjust. It does not deliver justice. And a lot of people say, trust the American legal system, blah, blah, blah. No, it is so unjust. It's horrible. It's horrible. So it goes right here also, lower verse 17. If her father utterly refused to give her unto him, he shall pay the money according to dowry of virgins. So we're talking about matters between now that are family law, which are, like relationships and so forth. And you can see that the father made the decision for his daughter. So we should probably pay attention to God's law when it comes to this. Nowadays, a woman makes decisions on who she's going to marry or stay married to. Look at verse 23. If thou afflict them in any wise and cry at all unto me, I will surely hear their cry. Talking about a mother and children, widow, and the fatherless. And my wrath shall wax hot, and I will kill you with the sword. This is how the Lord defends widows and fatherless. And I guess today we call them single mothers, right? But I wanted to address this so that it's on the record. The single mothers of today are not single mothers at all. Just because a woman is married to a man and says, you know what? You're a narcissist. I'm leaving. Files for divorce. Okay? And then goes away and marries somebody else or is single and dating. That's not a single mother. That is a fool. That's what that is. You're not allowed to divorce. I'm not talking about Bible. I'm talking about a man is not going to want you, is what I'm saying. If you're married and you have children or whatever, you're better off working it out with your husband. No man is going to want a woman like that. It's a waste of time, and you cannot prove me wrong. That is a fact. Most women that get divorced, you look at the statistics, they end up single for the rest and bitter for the rest of their lives. And they make their children single and bitter too. It's a fact. Cannot be denied. So it is just better to follow God's laws. It's always better. It's always better to read His Word and look at what He says. He gives us guidance because He loves us. And in this case, you cannot just be married to this man and another man and another man. You should always ask your dad, and hopefully your dad is godly, or your brother. Because I'll be honest with you, I saw a video, we were talking about it last night. I saw a video where a woman is saying, in this video, that she doesn't need a man at all, that she's self-sufficient, and men don't add anything to her. And the guy talking to her says, really? Everything around you was created by a man. You don't need a man? A phone, a car, a plane, the roads. Everything was built by men who were trying to feed their families. And so it is just bananas that this is how women think, because they've been conditioned by this logic of today in our world, which is single mothers. Single mothers. You're not a single mother if you left your husband. That's not a single mother. That is not. Or most women do not even leave their husbands because they have no husbands. They got children out of wedlock. That's not a single mom. That is just not. Anyway, I can be here for days, but we'll just leave it at that. Chapter 23. The Lord doesn't want to justify the wicked. Verse 7. That is not what the law is for. Verse 13. In all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. We're not to... This takes us back to chapter 22, verse 18. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. We're not supposed to have witches. And most of these single women I'm talking about, they're so friendly to witchcraft. Why? Because they're so in tune with their intuition, right? And they have a fifth sense or a sixth sense or something, whatever they say. And they want to study astrology. And they're all about like new agey things. That is witchcraft. Verse 17, 3 times in the year all the males shall appear before the Lord. Why the males? Because we just explained it. Males are in charge of all the things that we have around us, not females. Let's not kid ourselves. 22, but if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, I will be an enemy unto thine enemies and an adversary unto thine adversaries. This is the law. If we obey it, he will fight for us. 24, thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor after their works. He's adamant we're not supposed to do anything, have anything to do with other gods. And ye shall serve the Lord your God, verse 25, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of thee. Sickness in the body, sickness in the mind, sickness everywhere. He's able to take that away from us. Chapter 24. Moses alone shall come near the Lord. They shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. Moses was up there because the Lord had a plan to give us the word of God through Moses, not because Moses was special or godly, which he was, but that's not the reason why. The Lord called Moses to do this one thing, just like he called Abraham. And there's not going to be another Abraham. No one of us will be an archetype of any of these people. Okay? So, got to be careful with that. So, this is the last portion I wanted to get to, which is so beautiful. So, I'll try to get through it really quickly. It's so beautiful. When Moses sends the young man in verse 5 of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrifices, peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant, that's the Bible, the word of God, and read it in the audience of the people. And they said, all that the Lord hath said we will do, and be obedient. And Moses, check this out, and Moses sprinkled it on the people and said, behold the blood of the covenant which the Lord hath made with you concerning all these words. What does that remind you of? Where else in the Bible is that phrase, this is the blood of the covenant? And there's actually blood in like a cup, or a representation of blood in a cup. Let's look at verse 4. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning, and builded an altar under the hill in 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. So there's picture 12 tribes, a cup, and the words blood of the covenant. That's the Last Supper. This is a foreshadow of the Last Supper. 12 disciples out of all the tribes. Okay? Jesus hands over the cup and says, this is the blood of the covenant. Did he not? Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. So that's what Jesus was doing. He was fulfilling. This is the beginning of what Jesus was going to fulfill. Because this blood, you had to give it over and over and over. But Jesus was the blood was the Lamb of God, and his blood was once for all. That was the end. This was the beginning here. Can you see this is the beginning? This has not happened before. So Moses uses the words, the blood of the covenant which the Lord hath made with you. Right? And then Jesus does the same thing. So Moses begins and Jesus ends. Okay? And once for all, it is given to them. And here is more clues that a lot of the same things that Moses did, Jesus did too. Look at this, verse 9. Then went up Moses and Aaron and Nadab and Abihu and 70 of the elders of Israel, and they saw God. They saw of God And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet as it were a paved work of sapphire stone, and it were the body of heaven in his clearness. So it's almost as though they entered heaven. Didn't Jesus do the same thing when he took the 2 disciples and he met Elijah and Moses? Right? And they said, let us build 3 altars. One for thee, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. Right? Well, you can see Jesus doing all this stuff too. It's unbelievable that a lot of people, I'd never heard this before. I just read it and I'm like, oh, that is like a foreshadow of Jesus. It is so, so, so beautiful. So beautiful. And here's more foreshadow. And Moses went in, this is verse 18, into the midst of the cloud and got him up into the mount. And Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. We see Jesus all over the place as we read through the entire Bible. Anyway, hopefully this is not too long. I mean, it's an hour almost. But it is so beautiful. We can't stop but want to keep going, but we have to call it a day. Tomorrow we will go into the tabernacle, which also represents Jesus. Walter Veith has a beautiful teaching about every intricate thing about the tabernacle represents Jesus, right? Yeah, it is so fascinating. It's amazing. We're not going to get into all of it. I think we're just pretty much going to read it, maybe link Walter's video so you can kind of see what it says, but it is so beautiful. The Bible is such a beautiful, incredible, amazing book. It's the Word of God. It's a living, breathing thing. And it will never pass away. No matter how much Rome wants to destroy the King James Bible, it will never, ever, ever pass away. Rome is never going to succeed. We'll see you tomorrow.